Daniel, I may need to stay on for a few days after the conference has ended. Some senior Beijing government health official has a cardiac problem. There's a possibility of an operation. I don't know all the details yet.
When did all this happen?
Oh, no, we're fine. Thank you very much. In London, I was approached by some of his party apparatchiks. Apparently, some doctor at the conference will make first contact. It's all very clandestine and circuitous, but it seems that's the way they do things.
Is that why you didn't think to mention it?
Well, as you're not directly involved, it's not an issue, is it?
Devlins are funding this conference and asked me to organize it.
At my suggestion. The chance to operate on a senior party leader is a major PR coup. I'm sure your paymasters will be the first to see how we all stand to benefit from that.
Or lose if the operation isn't a success.
Well, I shall make a professional decision based on the clinical evidence of the case, just like any other operation.
Any operation carries a risk.
And rising to the challenge of that is how some of us earn our daily crust. Do you know why Devlin chose China? He says that in a decade it'll be a global player rivaling Japan. This operation could be the entry card we all need.
You missed your vacation, Dad. You should have gone into politics.
Known as covering the bases, Daniel. Taking care of business. Not a congenital trait in your case, but I live in hopes of your one day acquiring the knack.
You know, I was actually looking forward to this trip. Us being on the same team for once.
Welcoming to the gate. Now don't lose sight of my briefcase, whatever you do. Yes, it is. Lovely to see you. Oh, what a... Yes, thank you. Yes, of course. Hello, how very nice to meet you. Oh, yes. Mr. Hai, Mr. Hai, Mr. Chu, Mr. Lear, Mr. Hai, Mr. Wu, and Mr. Wang. Oh.
Left main stem, 70% stenosis. Completely blocked right. Critical ischemia. Keep pressure right. Up, look at pressure product. Get one of the boys to take the vein quickly. One pasture in the aorta. Parson's bypass. No need to cross clamp. Why do you keep running?
Jesus! I thought you were in trouble when that aortic suture cut out. Lucky one, that.
Luck, dear boy, has fuck all to do with it. No ischemia, total bypass, time 25 minutes. Patient was off the ventilator that night and home. Hello,
And where have you been all day?
Daddy. How are you?
Oh, fine, fine. How are you?
Oh, I've had this letter from the chairman of the interview board. The hospital chief executive wants all candidates to do a presentation as part of their... As potential representatives of the hospital, he wants to ensure we can present our ideas with confidence and coherence. Shit!
What?
The fucking lab's got some golfing slides mixed up with mine.
Darling, listen, have you checked the board out with who's who? Know the enemy. It's the first cardinal rule.
If only you were here, Daddy.
You get something to eat and get an early night.
I can't keep anything down when I'm this stressed out.
You can do it. Darling?
Yeah, fine.
When this board thing's over, why didn't you come out here? I might just need a spare pair of hands.
Anyone operating out there?
Let's just say, a window of opportunity may have presented itself.
Wish me luck.
You know I wish you luck.
I didn't know who else to call. It happened in the night. He was alone. He wants some help. Heart failure. In his sleep. Listen. All these things. Do you have any use for any of it? God knows it's no good to me. I think he'd like you to have it. I'll have my son pack it all up. Get it over to you.
Thought for the day, for what it's worth. If it is true that we doctors were once the sorcerers of society, when did we lose our magic? Was it the empirical scientific study of disease which came later that... No, for even that was based upon the most ancient mystical teachings of civilization. No. We have allowed the sacred mystique of healing to be replaced by technology. So, behind the smokescreen of its mechanical wizardry, we all can hide from our own uncertainty and our fear.
所有这些与其他的许多特征，利用了起相互作用的远距离医术，使洲际诊断和医疗成为现实。德夫林医术集团掌握了未来。
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. So much for the fanfare. After lunch, we'll get on to the facts. Any technical questions will be dealt with by Mr. Warboys, who's our representative from Devlin Medical, while I and my colleagues will attempt to deal with any ethical or practical considerations. So let's reconvene then at exactly 2:30. Thank you.
I have a question. You claim one of the advantages of this is diagnostic?
That's correct, yes. So,
Because in your Western medicine, once a disease has been diagnosed, a specific treatment is recommended?
what is your point, Mr.
My name is Dr. Chan, but the medicine I practice is not like yours. For a single disease, we may have 100 variations to any treatment we prescribe. We assess the patient's physiological and psychological response to a disease entity.
He's a crank. Bad problem.
Because every patient is an individual, it follows the treatment must be also.
Well, whatever your methods, I feel certain that telemedicine can play a role in your practice too, Dr. Chan.
Do not patronize me, sir. A doctor is a healer, is he not? Answer the question, please.
That goes without saying.
A patient must trust his healer. He must see his face, feel his touch. How can he do this if the doctor's not in the same room, the same country?
That's the exciting possibility we're all here to discuss, Dr. Chen.
It was Socrates, was it not, who said that while a cure may lie in a certain leaf, there's also a certain chant which the healer must say while using that leaf. For without the chant, there can be no value from the leaf.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Dr. Chen. Right, now I think our lunch is getting cold.
Well, I'd say we made something of an impact.
Apart from your Socrates friend and his magic.
Well, as Confucius said, there's always one. I need a drink.
This is Dr. Yang.
Oh, Dr. Yan. Mr. Warboys, do forgive me a second. Shall I or shan't I? I don't think I will. Thank you very much. Thank
Mr. Bosco.
Yes.
Dr. Zhao Qing.
Good luck.
May I speak with you a minute in private? I'll be most grateful for your advice on a patient.
Yes. Yes, of course. Yes.
It's a most vexing case. He presented with a paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. At first
Well,
we
let's
thought
deal with the clinical details later. Where's the patient now?
just a few minutes drive away.
Oh, well, shall we?
Yes. Could you just wait a minute?
Yes, of course. You say he presented with paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea.
我们得快点啊.
And the symptoms began when?
I'll give you all the detail when we get there.
Are we here?
Just a short distance away. We must hurry.
Is all this really necessary?
Please get in. Do as I ask, please.
What's going on here? Where are we going?
抓紧点时间。
There is no patient, is there? Look, I demand you take me back to the conference.
I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't do that, Mr. Bosco. And if we were stopped, you said that my car broke down while I was showing you a tour of the city, and this gentleman kindly offers a ride. This is the state prison. And you see that vehicle? Please look out the window, Mr. Bosco. It's a surgical vehicle from the health department. But they are under the instruction to have all their markings removed. 6 prisoners are scheduled to be executed today. Most of them are in their 20s. Some of them are dissidents, and others are charged with burglaries and hooliganism, which can carry the death sentence here. And the medical unit and the people court can use the opportunity of such execution to sell human organs.
Yes. Yes, I've read about such things.
Then you know it's other doctors who are doing this. They medically prepare them for the organ procurement weeks ahead. It's not all Eastern mystery here, you see. We're very practical people. As we eat every part of the animals, so we use every part of the human beings who is not useful to the society. See those boxes? The organs are in those boxes. The physician comes to do the work themselves. They extract the organ just prior to death. As you know, this enhances their quality of the transplantation. They're all organized, you see, up to the last detail. Have a seat. You know, in China, it's a belief that when you die, if your body's not intact, your spirit will never rest. We know about your consultation with our government health leader. That's why I acted. We want you to tell him that you know of these things. And remind him how he violates all United Nations dictates on medical ethics. And he must use his power to ensure this practice cease. But you must do it in a way that he doesn't lose face. And that's very important. I suggest you speak to him in private. That's the best way. I ask a lot, I know.
I think you overestimate my influence on him.
But doesn't patient always listen to his doctor? Here's a list of the names of the 6 prisoners who were executed this morning. But you must not tell how you got it, not to anyone. Here, even Grandma was bound their neighbors. The conference center is just down the block. Mr. Pasco, you're a distinguished foreign visitor, so he cannot harm you.
Welcome to the Headingley, everyone. Sorry to keep you. Now, the order of play will be as follows. We'll take Miss Pascoe first, followed by Mr. Kennedy, and then Mr. Vaughan. Good luck. Miss Pascoe?
So it was a particularly difficult case, replacing failing tissue valve within a Dacron conduit implanted 8 years earlier for Marfan syndrome. But, as you can see, the patient made an excellent recovery. In fact, the last time I spoke to him, he complained that his handicap was only down to 14.
You're not married, are you, Miss Pascoe?
No, I'm not.
So we can assume that you have no immediate plans to start a family.
It's not a priority for me, no.
Of course, you have the prerogative of changing your mind later.
It's not something I'm known for.
Let's get stuck in at the deep end, shall we? Suppose I tell you that my unit is proposing to use pig hearts for human transplants. What problems would you anticipate?
Well,
the obvious one would be that the average lifespan of a pig is only 18 years.
and the problem of rejection.
That's equally a problem with human donors.
How about the ethical issues it raises?
It was Aristotle, wasn't it, who said all animals exist for the sake of man?
It depends which organ you think defines humanity, doesn't it? I'd certainly have a problem if we were talking about transplanting pigs' brains. Oh, hello again.
Can't drag yourself away from us, eh?
Well, I thought I'd have a look at the library, check out the research facilities.
Marvelous internet system they've got. I'm like a junkie on the thing. Did you see?
Actually, you and my father trained together, I think. Edgar Pascoe?
Oh, goodness, how stupid of me. I didn't connect the name. Yes, we were up at Cambridge together, eons ago, of course. So you're following in his footsteps. Brave move.
Foolhardy. He has such stories of his time at Cambridge. There was one when a bunch of you went off to your first lodge meeting. He said how he was frightened at all these secret rites and rolled-up trouser legs.
One tends to have such misconceptions at that age.
He's off on a trip to China, always flying off somewhere.
Yeah, he was a high flyer even then.
Oh, from what he says, you were two of a kind in that respect. Look, I've got a train to catch, but so nice to put a face to a name at last, Mr. Bagg.
Absolutely. Best of luck with the board.
It's out of my hands now, isn't it?
Your lawyers could call it harassment, I know. I was going to put it through the door. Mr. Pascoe and I, we did what we thought was best, Mrs. Sedgley. This thing of us fee-splitting. I'm sure given time, you'll... It's the name of a hospital chaplain. He's also a lay therapist. He deals a lot with cases of bereavement. He won't mention God unless...
You demeaned him. I'll not let you do the same to me.
Mrs. Sedgley.
Peter didn't want the operation. He never wanted it. But we were a formidable team, weren't we? I keep thinking how it can be that you can trust a total stranger more than your own husband. Just because he has the word doctor in front of his name.
Claims that the application of telemedicine is too costly due to its dependence on the installation of expensive telecommunication systems. But as you can see from our own cost projections, we anticipate the initial investment to be recouped within 5 years. The time needed for installation will inevitably vary depending on the location and circumstances.
从我们的成本推算来看，我们预期原本的投资将可以在5年之内收回。装设系统所需的时间必然有所不同，这要看地点与条件而定。在已经装有电话线的地方，我们确信。
Apparently my patient is ready for his consultation.
Which is where?
You tell me. You better stay here. Make my excuses.
No one will miss us.
就下一针呢会在手肘的上方，应该是不会疼的。
我现在给你做艾灸啊，你有点痛。
别动啊，这是会疼。对。
Go ahead, please.
There you are, you see. Stenosis in all 3 vessels.
Mr. Pascoe, at last. Well, I have one call.
How do you do? This is my son Daniel. He's with Devlin Medical Technology, who are, of course, sponsoring our visit here.
Welcome. Please meet my doctors. Dr. Bao, my cardiologist.
How do you do?
Yeah. Dr. Zhao, his assistant.
A privilege, Mr. Pascoe.
Doctor?
Well, I thought it appropriate that we meet here. This hospital is reserved for senior party officials, and Dr. Bao will show you the facilities.
That's right. I look forward to that.
So, where shall we begin?
Your angina, sir, does it occur during your rest time as well?
Yeah.
You'll appreciate I have had very little opportunity to assess your clinical record. But on the basis of the tests that you've had, I can confirm that there appear to be blockages to the 3 main arteries which serve the heart. And that, together with your worsening angina, indicate that a triple bypass is recommended, as suggested by your cardiologist.
You have no doubt in this?
On the basis of what I've seen, sir. No doubt whatsoever.
And would you be prepared to undertake this operation yourself?
I wonder, sir, if we could speak privately for a moment. Not for very long.
You may出去吧。
I wondered if I might...
I lived in London once, when I was a student. Elephant and Castle, you know it?
Not intimately.
Great days, fun days. Your son is a fine young man. As we say here, a tiger doesn't breed curs. It is said that the Chinese do not fear death, but celebrate it as a new journey. I wake up at night sometimes, unable to breathe, with this terrible pain. I can feel death in the room, watching me, waiting for me. You cannot begin to know the terror of that. I hope we both can use this opportunity of mutual trust as a bridge to the future.
Excuse me, I have another rather delicate matter that I would like to raise with you.
Please, anything.
Well, I hope you won't think it presumptuous of me, sir, but I have here a list of names.
Ah, I was sworn that you might raise this. They are the names of your team you want to bring out to assist you. See? I anticipate everything. Anything you need, I can arrange it. If I can have the list.
Well, I'm afraid it's not quite finalized yet.
Can you see to it soon? This got to be done quickly. Well, in the meantime, you and your son will be my guests at the hotel, of course. I'm most grateful to you, Mr. Pascoe. I'm so relieved. I have a complete faith.
现在就请大家跟我来吧。
They will show you the operating suite now.
Distract them, will you? Doctor. The time wasn't appropriate. I'm so sorry. He's a patient, you see. I've never been particularly comfortable confusing clinical responsibilities.
Clinical responsibilities? Of course. We have a saying. A man's actions are the weapons of his heart, and his words are the empty sound of it.
Dr. Denton, my office is closed for the day. Please leave a message.
Morris, Edgar. I'd like your input on a patient. Stenosis in all three main vessels, worsening angina. Something we've seen many times before, of course, but, look, talking of angina, I've been having the odd chest pain myself. Probably something, nothing. I wonder whether you... Plus, there's somebody at the door. Look, perhaps you'd call me at my hotel. Sooner rather than later, Morris. Would you? Thanks.
There's mention of a list of names, Mr. Pascoe. The team you wanted to bring out to assist you in the operation?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes.
Let me see.
Add just one more name, if I may. My office will provide contact numbers should you need them.
Thank you, Mr. Pascoe.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Kind of you to come.
My Lancet paper. It's with the referees. I'm just waiting for a publication date.
You really worked your socks off, didn't you?
Yeah, well, you can remove that note of surprise from your voice, Mother.
There's something you should know before you see your father, Nicola. We're living apart for a while. Having a sabbatical from each other, as he probably calls it. Most doctors I know married nurses rather than other doctors. Perhaps he should have married a nurse too. Unconditional respect makes for a quieter life.
Is there someone else?
Don't be absurd.
I mean, with Daddy.
Irreconcilable differences, the solicitor called it. Personal, professional, and all points in between.
It's gone that far?
For me, yes.
Well, why didn't he say something? I mean, why didn't he tell me? And you let him go off to China like this?
Yes, Daniel with him.
Oh, right.
Isn't it enough Daniel has his father's censure without yours too?
Since I usually have yours, Mother, I would call it a fair exchange.
You know what I said when they told me I was expecting twins? I said, good. They'll be company for each other. They'll always have an ally.
Yeah, well, nature and nurture and all that.
If I've given more time to Daniel, it was to take up the slack your father left.
Oh, Daniel brings that on himself.
Not all of us choose to trail in Edgar's shadow, Nicola.
What's all this junk?
A kind of legacy from a colleague. I'm trying to collate it, make some sense of it all.
Should have done the Oxfam shop, that made more sense. If Dad's turned to me, it's because I'm the only one who's always there for him. And I've carried that all these years. Times I wouldn't mind walking away from it either.
Tell me, Daniel, these contacts that Devlin made here, how robust would you consider them? If I was to feel that there was a dilemma, do you think, which potentially conflicted with our interests here, an ethical dilemma, do you think that they would be sympathetic to at least giving such a point of view a hearing?
Ethics defined as what in this context?
Ethics aren't something which alter according to the context. They must be a given, an absolute. There are things going on here which are untenable.
Like what?
The illegal trafficking of human organs taken from young prisoners. Apparently orchestrated by the state. I've been asked to use my influence, speak to Wan Pu about it.
It's the woman at the hospital, isn't it, Dr. Zhao?
The point is, it's other doctors who are doing it.
These poor buggers probably have no choice, do they? Toe the party line, go to work in the paddy fields.
And those of us that do have a choice.
Say you do raise it. Not exactly going to welcome your interference, is he? At best, it could compromise everything we've tried to achieve here.
So your advice, then, see no evil.
Admitting to one's limitations isn't always a weakness.
It's a fairly reliable indication of it.
Do you remember those stories you used to tell Nicola and me? About how as a kid you used to wait on the wards for your mother to finish her nursing shift. About how the consultants swept around you. How they seemed like gods to you. I waited on the wards as a kid too, Dad. There was no god I saw.
I got your present. Did you get it?
That's right.
A little surprise for you. My formal letter of acceptance for the job at Headingley.
She's here. I have proof right here. Nicola! I must speak with her.
She left for China this
A colleague
Monday.
of mine, a friend from Edinburgh.
What is all this?
The paper your daughter stole from me. And the one to go into the Lancet. My friend was staying with me while I was working on the first draft. He proofread it for me. He called me. He still had a copy. Dated. See? My name all over it. And his notes. There, see? And again, there. Months of work and research went into that paper. You know her. You think she has that kind of stamina? And when did she do it? At night. On her weekends off. You tell her. If she doesn't take her name off it and put mine back, I'll get onto the Lancet so fucking fast her head'll spin. And I'll make sure that every hospital in the country knows what she's done. Her oh-so-brilliant career will be cut off at the knees.
Mr. Pascoe, a telephone call for you.
Edgar Pascoe.
It's me. I have to talk to you, Edgar. It's about this Lancet paper of Nicola's.
Now, just a minute. Are you telling me that you prefer to listen to the word of a complete stranger rather than that of our own daughter? Because, quite frankly, I don't want to listen to it.
Hello, yes? What kind of opiate?
Easy. You look tired, Daddy.
Oh, it's a jet lag, that's all.
Your team are being less abstemious.
Your mother phoned? Something about a colleague of yours? Dilip someone?
Dilip Satsu.
Yes, went round to the house. Ranted on about your Lancet paper.
Went to the house in Wiltshire.
Yeah. Just barged in, apparently. I have in my hand a piece of paper. Some poppycock about having proof that it was he who had written it. Oh, well, a solicitor's letter will put him straight. I'll deal with it when we get back. I'm afraid envy is something you're going to have to get used to, my dear.
I know what we can do. You just tell everyone you read my first draft. We can backdate it before his. No one's going to doubt your word, are they? Christ. Such a sanctimonious little shit. It was tapping into your contacts which got it on the right desk at the Lancet in the first place. He'd still be waiting for them to open the bloody envelope. He's just a foot soldier, Daddy. He loves all that tedious research and stuff. He's got 2 papers published already. I mean, what good is another one going to do him? It's not as if I didn't help him in the beginning. Just couldn't get the rest finished. 16 hours a day in that bloody hospital. Getting my application together. I haven't had a social life for weeks. Anyway, no one's going to listen to someone like him, are they? Poor sod doesn't know what he's up against.
Pascal?
511.
Here you are, sir. Is everything okay?
Just a minute. Yes?
I'm the hotel doctor. The front desk told me you weren't well.
I'm perfectly right, thank you very much. This is just a routine precaution. Thank you. We've met before, haven't we?
I'm Dr. Chen. I was at your conference.
Yes, the magic leaf. Yes, well,
I'm sorry to be disturbing you like this, Mr. Pascoe, but it is our hotel policy to respond to such an emergency.
I'm hardly an emergency.
If you would sit up on the bed, please.
I don't think there's any need for all this.
Please make yourself comfortable.
To take my shoes off. Like that?
Yes. Against the pillow.
Yes. All right. Oh, yeah.
Yes. May I?
Oh. Yes. Wow. Oh, I feel tempted to take notes for my medical students. It's not often they have a first-hand account of an authentic, holistic examination.
Here, medical students are required to study traditional Chinese medicine alongside your Western medicine. They complement rather than contradict one another.
Yes, I'm afraid we still haven't embraced the efficacy of crushed worms.
Well, perhaps one of your many Western drug companies who are researching the compounds of our ancient remedies might be able to enlighten you.
Yes, perhaps.
Tell me, where are you uncomfortable?
What's most... Might be a good idea, Doctor, if you made your diagnosis entirely without my help. Strictly in the interests of medical science, of course.
It would take a little longer.
Well.
Each pulse carries its own messages from your organs. Your pulse indicates you have a qi deficiency.
Qi deficiency?
Can I see your tongue, please? Wider. Thank you. The heart opens out onto the tongue. A chemical substance is present. Did something happen to you today? Your pulse is knotted, like knotted string.
What does that indicate?
The life force which moves the blood has weakened, causing the blood to stagnate. Have you been having pains here? In China, the heart is known as the emperor of the body because it is the organ which houses the spirit. Your heart needs nourishing, Mr. Pascoe.
And what do you propose to nourish it upon?
An infusion of herbs. Lily turf and licorice might be effective.
Oh, I like licorice.
And poultice to warm the heart. Perhaps some acupuncture to unlock your energy channels.
Acupuncture?
But you must also look at the other forces in your life which has caused this stagnation. There is an imbalance there.
Ah, Now, if I'm not mistaken, we've encountered our old friends, Yin and Yang.
You make a habit of scorning what you don't understand, Mr. Pascoe. Isn't it a fact? In the Western world, in spite of all your clinical trials and scientific advances, the same amount of people are dying of the same diseases they did 50 years ago.
Statistics.
You are frightened of me. Why?
All right, that's enough. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Thank you. Even you, Doctor, can't dispute that the greatest achievements of mankind have been scientific. The eradication of smallpox, to name but one.
Li Xinsheng, one of our own scientists, recorded the ways to inoculate against smallpox some 100 years before your Mr. Jenner.
You make it sound like a competition.
I can concede the contribution of Western medical science, Mr. Pascoe, yet you cannot concede the contribution of our medicine, that the mind and spirit can directly influence physical health. Why is that?
It's because I have yet to see any empirical evidence to substantiate it.
There was an event, a true event. No doubt you call it an apocryphal story. But bear with me, please. Several years ago, a young Australian doctor was in the outback. His money was stolen, and he was riding the goods trains home. He climbed onto a carriage and closed the door, only to find that it was a refrigeration carriage. Now, since his hometown was some 3 days away, he realized that he was going to die. So he decided that his death should be of value to medical science. He decided to write down exactly how it feels to freeze to death. And then when the train eventually reached his hometown, the railroad workers found his paralyzed corpse and the notebook beside it. But they were puzzled, however, because the refrigeration carriage was not turned on. This story touches you.
Some condemned prisoners here have their organs removed for transplant operations. Does that touch you, Doctor?
I was like you once. I used to run my own hospital department. I too represented my country at international conferences. Then one day, some of us put our names down to a paper describing the practices you just mentioned. And now, as you see me, I'm the lucky one.
Yes.
Dad? You all right?
Was that for me?
Yes, fax. It was delivered to the wrong Pascoe. Morris has taken an overdose. He's in ICU at the Caledonian Hospital. Why would he do that?
Where's Nicola?
Down in the bar, networking.
She had a good teacher, didn't she?
Best there is.
Oh dear. Tired and emotional. Morris always says that when he's had one too many.
Except you're sober as a judge.
As a judge, yes, but not a god. Has your sister ever done anything like that before?
Wouldn't they? She doesn't confide in me.
Oh, no, it's my department, isn't it? Well, it's this consolation prize. Oh, Daniel. I apologize.
My consolation prize, Dad?